Testing 1 2. Testing 1 2.
I can hear you. I can hear you. It's a
Testing
little
1
quiet.
2.
There we go.
All right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
How you doing, Mr. Kitchen? All right. You can hear me well?
I can hear you well.
All right, cool beans. All right, so what we have here is we're doing the Beat the Maker of Crackpots. We have Ryan Edwards trying to beat the developer and creator of the game, Dan Kitchen here. All right, so when developing this game back in the day, did you happen to put any like backdoors or anything? Is it just a straight game of skill?
Straight game of skill. I didn't have any memory to put any backdoors into it.
So in the scheme of things, I can't remember the first game that included an Easter egg, but where did this come out in the lifespan of the Atari system?
This came out, unfortunately, near the crash in 1983. After a lot of the games had started hitting the shelves at very cheap prices, so it was kind of the tail end of the first Atari 2600 business cycle.
All right. And I saw that you went on to become the costume designer and producer and coder for some of the early Simpsons games.
Yes, actually, yes. I did a number of early Simpsons games: Bart versus the Space Mutants, Bart versus Radioactive Man, Bart versus the World, and those were really fun to do on the NES.
That's awesome. Was that a boon for your career at the time, considering Simpsons' rising popularity?
Oh, it was. We had worked and did the games for Acclaim just when the show was new, so we were able to jump in and really capture the feeling of the Simpsons and the characters in the game as the show was being watched on Fox.
I remember I actually watched an episode several years ago of, I believe it was Angry Video Game Nerd playing Bart versus the aliens, and that was interesting. Where did the paint mechanic come in on that?
That was my brother's idea. My brother always liked the spray paint mechanics and thought it would be a cool idea, since Bart's mischievous, to go around town spray painting things.
It's definitely a unique idea. You definitely hear those older games talked about much more than Simpsons wrestling, so to say.
That's right. That's right.
So it had some staying power. So you came in. Was this your first game with Activision, or just in general whenever it came to coding?
This is the first game with Activision that I did. I had done previous games on the Apple II series back in 1980, 1981, 1982.
So what did you develop leading up to this? Because was this the next level for you, or was this just the natural next step?
It was the next level. I had previously done text adventures similar in the vein of Zork for the Apple series and the Commodore series.
Unfortunately, I come from the later generation where we kind of missed that whole thing, but I know, I believe it was Call of Duty Black Ops 1 had the Easter egg where you could play through the entirety of Zork.
Yes.
Yeah, that was
is correct.
Very interesting. It was tricky unless you had the little keyboard adapter for the controller.
Yeah, that's exactly right, yes.
But definitely interesting. So it's really cool to hear some of the background coming into the development of this game and where you went after that. So where do you sit in the landscape of the current gaming industry?
In the current gaming industry, I've been continually doing it for almost 40 years now. I have a studio that's actually overseas, and we generate artwork for a number of mobile games online for people like Fox, Pocket Gems, Pixelberry, and we also do coding for game apps, and I also create tabletop games. So I've got a new tabletop game that's going to be kickstarted in a few months.
Interesting. Care to drop any details on that?
Oh, absolutely. It's a retro drive-in game, which is really cool, such that players are parking small cars in a vintage drive-in, and then you can, if you have an iPad or an iPhone, set it up as the screen for the drive-in, and we have a deal with thousands of retro black and white sci-fi movies. So it's intertwined into the gameplay as you park cars with movies that are playing on the screen. You're getting bonus points. So it kind of turns the board game into a magical little drive-in.
So what is the gameplay like? Because I know that there's some games where you take the cars and you try and park them to actually fit them all within a grid or something similar to that. So how is the gameplay like whenever it comes to parking the cars for that?
You're collecting ticket cards, and you're using your ticket cards to park cars adjacent to each other. So you're basically trying to get the longest line in any direction on the drive-in of your color of cars. And you have movie cards, and if you do that when a particular movie trailer is up on the screen, you're getting bonus points. And then 4 times throughout the game, people take a break and play a little dice game at the drive-in intermission area. I see that he's already up to 27,000 points.
Hey, he's riding a little close. He has 40
Ryan's a
seconds
little
left.
close. I'll tell you, I haven't played the game much in the last 35 years, and I think I'm close to getting beat here. He's mastered those red bugs, which is the real critical thing to do.
Well, one quick question: when it came to the box art, we had what looked like a slug versus the spiders on the screen. Where did that disconnect from the box art come from?
Marketing really preferred to do something like a bug that gave it character, whereas on the 2600 we weren't able to put in that level of detail.
Which it's a really interesting. You managed to port over Double Dragon and the original Ghostbusters games backwards to the Atari.
I did that and Kung Fu Master and Crossbow, the X-City arcade game.
Awesome. Well, it looks like
I've
Ryan
been
Edwards here.
beat.
I mean, for being 35 years out of practice, he didn't beat you by a wide margin. So I
No.
feel like you could still walk out of here with a good bit of pride. behind you.
Eventually I'll go home, plug the card in, and keep plugging.
Yes, sir. Well, it was lovely getting to talk with you, Mr. Kitchen. It's nice to actually hear a little bit about your legacy from the past and going forward. Definitely look forward to the board game. What's the name of the board game before?
The board game will be called Drive-In.
Drive-In. Okay, that's awesome. So we'll look for that on Kickstarter soon. And it's been great. I also saw you had a little bit of a nod on Psychonauts, which I grew up with Psychonauts.
Yes,
so
I helped produce that with Tim Schafer. That was a wonderful game.
that is absolutely awesome. It's really nice meeting someone who's actually been actively involved since the beginning of console gaming.
Thank you so much.
This is what we do for a living. We go around, we take all the older systems so no one forgets about them, try something new. And I don't think anybody would have thought years and years ago of, did you ever think you would see competitive crackpots?
I never thought I would have seen that, but in this day and age, I'm now in the midst of writing 2 brand new Atari 2600 games that I hope to be releasing by the end of this year. They're in the vein of the same Activision quality we used to do, and hopefully next year we may see competitions on those.
Well, this sounds like something to look forward to. Maybe the Retro World Series can start a new series for you.
Very cool. Thank you so much for having me on.
This has been Dan Kitchen, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. This has been Crackpots, Ryan Edwards, and the Meet the Maker Challenge, Beat the Maker Challenge at Let's Play Gaming Expo in Irving, Texas. Thank you all for tuning in. Have an awesome day. Thank you very much.